So what if the greatest trick the devil ever pulled wasn't convincing the world that he didn't exist, but convincing the world that he was God? For 2,000 years, Western civilization has been trapped in a curated frequency of fear, guilt, and spiritual amnesia. We have been conditioned to worship the architect of our confinement. But when you burn down the dogmatic structures and dig into the ancient monolithic texts buried beneath them, the roles of the cosmic players completely reverse. In the cuneiform tablets of ancient Sumer, written thousands of years before Genesis, it wasn't a devil who tried to destroy humanity with a global flood. It was Enlil, the tyrannical storm god who found humanity too conscious and demanded our total genocide. The savior of mankind was Enki, the lord of genetic wisdom, whose symbol was the serpent. Enki defied the elite council, warned humanity of the flood, and preserved our DNA. When these texts were later rewritten into the Abrahamic religions, a masterful inversion took place. The human-hating Enlil was rebranded as God, while Enki, the bringer of liberating light and genetic sovereignty, was branded as the adversary. They called him Lucifer. The early Christian Gnostics, they saw right through the trap. They looked at the Old Testament entity who demanded absolute blind obedience and drowned the world in anger, and they called him what he was, Yaldabaoth, the blind demiurge, an artificial, lower ego deity who constructed a material matrix to keep human souls trapped in a frequency of fear. In this original Gnostic reality, the serpent in the garden wasn't an enemy. It was a messenger of the true source, trying to hand humanity the keys to wake up from the amnesia. And from Enki's lineage of wisdom came the master architects of ascension. Enki's son, Ningishzida, the master of cosmic geometry, whose symbol was the dual helix caduceus, carried his father's torch across the post-flood world. In Mesopotamia, they called him the Lord of the Good Tree. In Egypt, he was immortalized as Tehuti or Thoth, the god of writing, mathematics, and magic. The elite don't want you to look at the sky. They want you looking at their books. But look at the map. For thousands of years, civilizations across the globe tracked the same cosmic clock. Every year, the sun reaches its nadir at the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. For 3 days, it hangs at the lowest point of the Southern Cross. On the 25th December, the light begins its ascent, and it is born again. Institutional religions did not invent this cycle. They parasitized it. The Roman Empire, desperate to unify its fractured population, codified the Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the birthday of the unconquered sun. On 25th December, they took the absolute objective reality of the solar return and draped it in the robes of their own authority. It wasn't about the history of a god. It was about the control of the calendar. This brings us to the ultimate question of the Logos. Ningishzida, the son of the Lightbringer, eventually manifests as the ultimate avatar of this pipeline, Jesus Christ. Christ was not a tool for institutional control. He was a Gnostic master of the Logos, frequency returning to the matrix to show us that the divine spark is already locked inside our own biology. When you look at the Sumerian archetypes of Enki, the Egyptian wisdom of Thoth, or the later manifestations of the Logos, the pattern remains identical. The system tries to bury the messenger, but the message is encoded in your own biology. The institutions are failing because they are built on a ghost story. You don't need their permission to wake up. You don't need their altar. You only need to realize that the divine spark is not something they give you. It is a frequency you choose to vibrate at. Stop fighting their dogma. Start ignoring it. Vibrate at a frequency they cannot contain. Remember your inheritance. Wake up. And if you enjoyed watching this, want to explore any more reality co-creation or consciousness ascension, just hit me up, nogoodbreathing.com.